So, what do you think of this upcoming match? You got to think it's going to favor 40 here, but you never know. I'm going to get them underway here while you break it down.
Well, what we've got coming up here is the number 3 seed 40 Watt. He is a one-time champion of a previous year's tournament, year 3, I believe it was. He was the victor. Coming up again, Drex, a newcomer, as Brian mentioned, but did drop the PB 2 minutes today. Really grinding it out. Has it been enough grinding to keep up with the likes of 40 Watt? I don't know. We're going to find out.
We will find out indeed. And something else to keep in mind as well, 40 Watt lost in the finals last year to our champion Dark Lord Gonzo, who unfortunately couldn't join us this year due to moving in real life at this exact moment in time. So won the third tournament, runner up in the fourth, and beat CHX twice last year and just absolutely pounded away sub 6 times doing it. Here we go. We're underway in this matchup. 40WattRange and Drex.
Looks pretty even so far, Bry. Drex not running right to the door on the right, as a lot of players comfortable with the opening to this room will do, but doing a pretty good job holding the middle and hitting their shots. Bit of sabotage from the grenade, unfortunately.
It's a very solid opener from 40, getting a 40. Meanwhile, Drex looking at probably about a 45, so a solid.
Yeah, about a 5-second difference going into collect power-ups, and let's see who gets to actually collect power-ups. Well, first drop orb for 40 Watt, and then a razor shield, so 40 Watt in pristine position here early on.
I can't believe our top seeds and their drops in this room so far.
Sometimes you gotta be lucky to be good, right?
Oh, it always definitely helps. And look at this, CHX saying a 118, that's so slow. Anyone can do that.
Yeah, just a paltry 118. You might as well just forfeit the match, Watt. You're not going to win with a pathetic entry like that.
And of course, keeping in mind that that easily sets up a chance for a similar time to CHX into the bonus rooms. And 40 should be able to hold this room down with that orb in hand. Meanwhile, Drex taking a couple deaths, unfortunately, and collect power-ups. And we go 142 or so into Eat My Shrapnel.
Yeah, just kind of similar to what we saw last match, Bry. Our high-ranked seeds getting everything, and their challengers getting nothing.
Well, hopefully the game realizes that it's doing this a little earlier than race number 3. 40 at 202 into Total Carnage. If the drops are really good, sub 250 is not out of the question.
No, not out of the question, but they're going to need a handful of rockets and really fast. Those grenades doing absolutely nothing to help, but good firing with the orb from 40. Going to keep the center firmly under control. Gets a little dangerous there with that green batsman, but able to just weave out of the way and keep the orb.
Meanwhile, Drex has really been struggling with Eat My Shrapnel. Let 4 shrapnel stay on the screen forever, and that just delays your exit from the room. You have to kill 18 in that room, but it's a max of 4 at a time. You got to keep their numbers under control.
Absolutely, Bry, but hard to do that with just the pea shooter when the game is giving you absolutely nothing to help out. And CHX is going to be into the bonus room with a 256.
A solid entry there. Missing a few shots, had to leave the middle at a few points when it got hairy. So that cost a few seconds, but still, sub 3 into the bonus room. You love to see it when you're a racer.
Hey, I love seeing it as a commentator too.
Oh, absolutely. Some good stuff. Well, let's see if 40 can have a better tank trouble. That was the one room that really gave CHX trouble. Here's Drex getting an orb. Can Drex hold the middle down here?
Just needs to get set in the middle, Bry, but unfortunately in dodging the shrapnel, lost the orb to a batsman.
And unfortunately for 40, he walked into a bullet from the gunner. Those bullets seem to move too fast when they're coming at you. When they're going away from you, they seem to move too slow.
But like we said, Bry, the RNG favoring our top runners, Watt gets an orb on the feet in the center of the room.
That's highly unlikely to get a good drop on your feet in tank trouble, so you just take advantage. That was a shrapnel block from 40. I don't know if that one was intentional, but it did get the job done. A very late razor shield, Just take it, use it, get on to the next room. Bonus room entry time, 4:09 for Drex. And 40 finishing up the room here will have a shot at a sub 6. And again, possible tournament record if the drops are crazy.
Could happen, Bry. It's not out of the question, but it's not quite as big of an opportunity as CHX had in the opening matches there. Still a very, very comfortable lead for 40 Watt here in game number 1.
Heck, if he drops a Mutoid Man gold for like a world record leading time for the room, would be a PB by 6 seconds. So you never know what's going to happen with this fight. Good angling there to try to get the ball buster. I don't think he got it though.
Did not look like it. I think he was a little bit off of the usual position, right in the center there. But some good lobber fire here is going to clean up the first arm, and shouldn't be too much longer before the second arm pops here. Once 40 gets back into position, those lobber shots landing a little too low on the hitbox right now.
If you do land him in the middle of the two sprites, though, to make up the two halves of his body, you do get double damage. But that triple, it can be hit if you hit that higher brown spot on his body.
Absolutely. Another orb shows up for Drex, but the center too cluttered, and unfortunately not enough time after taking the death to go there and pick up that orb. Drex still struggling to get through tank trouble.
Not that unexpected given the PB, and maybe not have been putting as much work as some of the other runners in, but definitely showing improvement from the last time I was watching his stream, so it's good to see. Does run into a mine though, trying to split the difference there. And is finishing the room out now. Use the invulnerability. There you go. Get rid of those shrapnels with what you have on hand. 5:56. PB possibility here for Drex.
Yeah, Drex would just need a couple of good spreaders, and it's totally reasonable for him to get a PB in the opening race here. That'd be quite nice to see. Watt's drops starting to dry up a little bit here on Mutoid. On to final form now. Is not going to be able to get those rockets for some ammo reinforcements. Going to need 2 full clips to take out Mutoid. These grenades going to be some excellent DPS. That'll be about half of the final form's life right there and there.
And honestly, a good job there by 40 to just keep volleying that dangerous shrapnel away while still shooting Mutoid Man. Pretty nice.
Yeah, real heads-up play there, Bry, pinned into the corner. Just and what 40 Watt did there was actually quite clever. 40 Watt fired diagonally upwards so that this way that the grenade spread would take care of the shrapnel while he's still hitting Mutoid Man. Really, really smart play.
Unfortunately for Drex, not getting much thus far here. Spreader, but can't reach it. That's too bad.
He will reach this lobber, however. Drex just kind of circling around, trying to dodge those laser beams from Mutoid.
Maybe the most important piece of advice for fighting Mutoid Man when it comes to lobbers for newer runners. You have to learn how to work up top and in tight to his body. It's counterintuitive to be that close. When you bank off the walls, it's a lot safer than dancing with those eyes.
Absolutely, Bri. If he's at the top of the room, you want to use that wall to your advantage. Bank the shots off. If he's a little further down, you can just do it straight up horizontally, but if he's really close, you're going to need to go at an angle and back away from the wall a little bit so that it lands in that sweet spot.
Absolutely. Pops the chest open here. Firing away with some rockets. Does have a grenade down there. It's going to be somewhat dangerous, but gets it and avoids the lasers. It appears Drex is playing on the North American version. So Mutoid Man is just constantly spamming lasers. You will notice most of our competitors make use of the Japan version of the game because the laser eyes are not firing at all times on that version, except for, I think, the third last form.
The Japanese version definitely has a small advantage in the boss room for those able to access it, so emulator players or most likely players with a power pack or something, Japanese carts, of course, quite difficult to get here in North America, where the vast majority of our players are situated.
Absolutely, and for those wondering, I actually do have a Japanese cart, and that was courtesy of 40WattRange, the man who just won this race, sending it to me as a present, and it was part of the drive for the sub 40 on normal. Appreciate it. Drex gets it done and should be throwing down about a 9-11 here in this opening race of this match.
Well, I unfortunately think Drex might need to call 9-11 because he did get positively smoked in this opening match, Bry.
It did not go super great for him here. I'm sure he will strike back with a much better time coming up. I'm going to get the two racers ready to go. For those wondering, two more matches coming up tonight. Going to be some good stuff for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure to stick around. This is only the second best of five we have on tonight. After this, we have Aries Fire Talker versus Seawalker 777s. And then after that, Prince Leaf is going to take on Mr. Entity.
A rematch from last year's tournament with Entity and Prince Leaf. I'm curious to see what other rematches we might get from last year's great tournament. I got to say, despite this being the end of the opening round, I am already getting ready to call this the best tournament we've had. And there was some insanely good stuff in the last tournament. We are not even out of round one yet, and I'm already feeling it's going to be better.
I think we already have more than 10 clips in the potential top 10 moments of the tournament, so yeah, it's been off to a fantastic start so far. Looks like game two between 40 Watt and Drex will be underway here. We can't just randomly award someone one of those keys at the top of the screen representing a win. We do have to play the games here.
And to that end, if you see something you think is
what Bry was going to say, I believe,
or
if you see something incredible, make sure to clip it and send it to us. We do put together highlight reels of the tournament afterwards.
Drex apparently failed the manip to get the race shield. Gets a nuke instead, but does get a race shield on the second drop. Bit of a lucky break there, Jack.
Yeah, lucky break for sure, Bry. Not really sure what went wrong on the manip there. Truthfully, I'm not too sure if Drex is playing on console or emulator. It's been a little tricky to tell so far.
Yeah, the image is maybe a little lower than you'd expect for that, but by the same token, didn't get the setup there, so hard to say. Either way, it's about a 5-second lead for 40 Watt, despite them seemingly in sync here, just basing it on the timers.
Yeah, just a little bit of twitch lag. Unfortunately, not something that we can really take care of in real time here. That's why we have the timers at the top of the screen. Well, looks like Drex is going to win the battle of best first drop here. Picks up a Razor Shield and now some rockets, assuming he goes up there to get them.
And the drops definitely are favoring Drex a little bit. I've seen at least 2 nukes being used. 40 even getting a grenade on the feet with a spreader in hand. Just no breaks being given.
Yeah, 2 orbs there for Drex. Lost the first one right away. Common mistake from newer players. The orb will always appear to the upper right of your character, so you can predict where it will appear when it spawns. So with that knowledge, you can make sure that that area is clear when you pick up that orb so that you can grab it safely.
40 getting a great opening drop there in Eat My Shrapnel, getting the orb, so should be able to control the room. Let's see if Drex can do better with that orb as opposed to just nothing like last time.
Yeah, Orb definitely will give Drex a much easier time here. Drex, I think, moving around a little bit too much in the center of the room, Bry, inviting disaster, as we just saw with that orb taken by the batsman.
It's one of the more subtle things about this room. If you have an orb, you can control the whole thing without even moving around. Just stay in the middle, work down the swarmers, and then just, pepper those shrapnels with 2 quick volleys, and you're good to go. And then you just have shrapnels. It's easy. Just got to stay in the middle.
Well, good news for Drex there is that he did enough damage with the orb to get out of Eat My Shrapnel without losing more than a second or so. 40 making excellent use of these rockets here, just spraying the 8 corners of the room, killing everything in sight.
He's holding it down right now, looking good. Meanwhile, Drex is getting Drek for drops. This is not very good, game. There's something useful. Finally, a Razor Shield.
Yeah, Razor Shield, a premium drop in this room. And now an orb. Drex has the setup, loses, unfortunately, most of his Razor Shield to a shrapnel in going up to get the orb, though.
Swung a little high, could have probably cut back down and been safe, but that's the type of stuff that comes with experience. Still pretty new to the game, and hey, 40 probably not happy with his entry time. It's still not a terrible time by any means with how the
No, not a
drops
bad
work.
entry time at all. 40 had to wait out a shrapnel explosion, and, well, Drex just blocked 2 shrapnel pieces with his orb
Uh,
after 40 did it deliberately at the end of the room just to show off, I suppose.
I don't know if I've ever done that myself. That was incredible.
Yeah, swirl of shame, unfortunately for Drex there. Orb in the corner, and looks like the room is over, so Drex at least will have that orb going into tank trouble.
40, meanwhile, had rockets, so the gunners got cleaned up nice and quick. It makes this room so much easier. Even gets a little spawn in using the nuke. The nuke, an excellent use in this room. There's just so many enemies, it's to your advantage.
Yeah, if you see it in this room, grab it. This is one of the 5 rooms in the typical speed run, on normal or hard, rather, where you always want to get a smart bomb, no matter the situation. If you see it, pick that thing up. It can only save you time.
Nice invulnerability in the middle here for 40. That'll allow him to safely finish the room out without threat. And we'll have a 421 into Mutoid Man's room. Once again, not out of the question.
Not out of the question for the tournament record, no, but it's going to require an extremely lucky Mutoid Man. First drop lobber, 40 going to try to pound away at the gunners. There's a spreader, wrong side of the room, so can't take the death, but 40 just going to sneak in there and try to get some manual damage in.
Not landing a whole lot from what I could see, but he got a little bit at the end there, Jack. Let's see what the next drop's going to be. It's a grenade. Meanwhile, Drex continuing to rip away at tank trouble.
Yeah, Drex just desperately trying to keep this room under control. As we noted, has one of the single highest spawn rates in the entire game. So an absolute disaster of a room. Even for our top players, you can easily get overwhelmed.
40 was manualing nicely, but then got a primo spreader, so had to go for it. We'll probably see a glitchtoid, and it's going to be our second of the night. Unfortunately, the rest of the spreader gets stolen by a lobber in the wrong spot.
Yeah, a bit of sabotage there for 40, but definitely got some good damage in there. That head should be popping any moment. 40 trying to use the wall. Mutoid at a very frustrating height there.
It is always difficult at that height. It's a 544 in the Mutoid Man's room. Final form going to be coming up here any second here for 40 with these back-to-back lobbers. Just pounding shots home here. And indeed, final form will probably need one more weapon after this. Maybe one more after that, depending on how efficient the fire was with those lobbers. But no, gets it done.
The lobber fire was good, and all those quick grenades for a really, really, really fast final form of Mutoid Man.
Did 40 steal my bit and die on the mine? How dare he?
I think that's everybody's bit at this point, Bri.
Yeah, but I'm the original, the creator, the one with the take a death celebration. You will pay me homage.
You were the only person that played this game for like 4 years or something.
Yeah, well, you played it too.
I did.
Boo, Brysolf, that's accurate. So Drex working away here, trying to pop that second arm with lava fire. And now the rockets will indeed get it popped open. Another rocket. Can we get some spreaders in a good spot, please, game? The answer is no, apparently. No.
The answer is always no, Bri. Have you played this game before? Oh, right.
We just discussed this. I was the only one that played it. And now there's a bunch of crazy people who play it really well. I love it. Chest popped open for Drex. Really pounding these lobber shots home. I like it. Gets the grenade. Very nicely done there. Has to avoid a death here. Another grenade. Even if he dies, would get it. That position is crazy good for the respawn.
Yeah, some slick dodging there. A couple shrapnels exploding on Drex, but calm and collected, able to evade those. Fortunately, doesn't reach the grenades at the top of the screen, but rockets nearby. And now some lobbers. This will definitely be enough to push Drex onto the final form.
I've been very impressed with Drex's advancement here at fighting Mutoid from what I've watched previously. Just good movement here. Doing a much better job as well of using diagonal lobber fire in this this particular run. PB is probably not going to happen thanks to these empty drops, because we're probably going to need 2 weapons here, Jack. But an efficient lobber maybe gets it done here.
Efficient lobber could get it done. Of course, always depends on the movement. There's grenades
Yes, that's
there.
a PB. It is indeed a PB, Jackamus.
Is
That would
that a
be,
PB?
yes, 825 is Drex's PB previously. This should be about an 820 or an 821.
So that's a PB by 5 seconds for Drex. You like seeing that. Unfortunately, not going to win this game, but does PB in the process. So that's a small step forward for Drex.
Indeed, and honestly, if the drops are a little better and get some Mutoid Man, that's a sub. It's 2-0, 40-watt range. I'm gonna get them set up here. You got to think 40 is going to complete the sweep here, but at this point, it's PB Watch 2021 because that's sub 8. I just feel it. I don't know why I'm going to call it sub 8 coming up for Drex in this next run.
I think it could very well happen, Bri. We've seen some pretty good fighting against Mutoid Man from Drex. I think the big thing that would help Drex here is just getting some drops inside Tank Trouble so he can take care of that room more efficiently and not have to die all over the place.
Tank Trouble is by far the largest gatekeeper of any of the rooms, especially for newer runners. But if you're not going to get good drops, it's just a ridiculously mean room.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an endgame room at the end of the first arena. Luckily, it's a short endgame room, but it's still extremely nasty.
The countdown has been given. They'll be underway momentarily. And then, assuming things go how we expect, we'll be taking a small little break to set up the third match. But we have to play the game. Who knows? Maybe the power goes out. Maybe 40-watt suffers from a congenital heart defect. Maybe Drex just goes super duper Saiyan. Who knows? Let's see. We're underway. Drex on the right, 40-watt on the left. And again, Drex does not get that Razor Shield setup, Jack.
No, perhaps Drex unaware of the manipulation there. I mean, if it's your first run of the day playing on emulator, it's all but guaranteed you're going to get it. From there, I mean, you do have to completely reset the console for it to work properly.
I'm not sure you even have to reset the console to make it work correctly. I think it's just doing the demo, is it not?
Honestly, I forget. I haven't played emulator in such a long time, but I'm pretty sure that that's what Drex is running this on from the looks of things there. Minimum, or only one over the minimum inside the first room for both runners here.
40 here, looking for a good first drop. It's a nuke on the feet. Not great. But the rockets were a good follow-up. Let's see what Drex gets. It's an invulnerability. I think Drex is going to ignore it. Might be a mistake. Could have used that to just plow some enemies under, waiting for the next drop.
Yeah, plowing enemies with the invulnerability is a strategy that does often pay off, but it does require a certain level of confidence with the game to do. Like, once that shield gets red, if you're a newer player, you're just going to run and hide. But when you get a feel for how long the invulnerability acts, you can use it quite effectively. 2 orbs here for Drex, loses the first one right away, but thankfully the game replaces that, and Drex firmly in control of collect power-ups now.
Rockets as well, just needs to get to them safely. Taking a bit of time to get them, but not a bad idea. You know you got time. We'll be out at 143. It's about a 22-second lead here, but 40 is riding Vitamin R right now, not having an orb show up as of yet.
Yeah, you can just see between the two players just the difference in confidence levels about firing. 40 making excellent use of the diagonals. Drex usually electing to shoot straight ahead. And another thing too is that in this game, you need to be able to react to what your shots are going to do. If you're firing an extra 3 or 4 rounds into an empty door, that's not doing you any good.
The downside of that, of course, is that you start assuming you've killed somebody and you don't notice they're still there. So you've got to be able to keep that double or even triple.
Basically, you need to play this
That
game
could be a death for
cross-eyed,
40.
is what Bri is saying.
Okay, good. Unfortunately, I froze right as a shrapnel piece was coming through his shield. So that wasn't good. I don't know what's going on here. Even for me, this is bad internet today.
Yeah, I thought I was the one with the awful internet, Bri.
I don't know. This new computer doesn't seem to work well with my internet. Plus, probably too many people streaming stuck at home. It is stay-at-home month here in Ontario for the 3rd time.
It's stay-at-home month most places on planet Earth, I believe.
That's a sub 3 into the bonus room. Given the struggle he had with not having an orb until total carnage, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, pretty solid entry for 40 watt into the bonus room. Razor Shield now for Drex after unfortunately taking a death. This will help Drex control that center. Just need to focus on your fire, take out the swarmers, and get out of this room in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, maybe the hardest part for, again, for newer runners in this room, ignoring the shrapnels unless you're just overwhelmingly kicking some ass with drops. You really don't need to kill them.
Yeah, the shrapnels don't affect the enemy count in the room. It can come back to bite you towards the end of the room if there's too many on screen and you're lacking some heavy firepower. But generally, you don't want to be focusing shots on them because they take 8 hits to go down. That's 8 swarmers you could have killed in the meantime.
And I gotta say, this is a pretty solid entry time here for Drex. It's a sub 4 into the bonus room. Meanwhile, 40 is
Flirting with
throwing.
disaster there a bit.
He's throwing down a spectacularly good dance with the devil. Tank Trouble here has been close a bunch to losing that orb, but just keeping it going. The drops, other than an early rocket, have not been good.
No, but really good movement here from 40. That orb coming so close to being taken away, but 40 keeps it the whole way through. And another 421 entry into Mutoid Bride.
Love to see it for 40. Meanwhile, Drex takes out a gunner here in Tank Trouble. Runs in front of a door, a bit of a dicey maneuver. You never know when enemies will come out, but gets away with it this time.
Yeah, pinned down in the corner, all the swarmers coming in, nothing to work with, and then some gunfire. At least the invulnerability will help Drex take care of the other cannon. Now just Drex needs to get some power-ups to get through the room. There's some rockets, those will help. 40, meanwhile, pounding away with the lobber, has a arm off of Mutoid here.
I think 40 got a ball buster off there, but not 100%. His lobber fire was very erratic, so it was tough to track after the orb hit how much damage Mutoid had taken.
Yeah, some good rocket fire there, at least is going to keep things going. There's a gift
Spreader
spreader.
opportunity.
Yeah, a bit far away from the door. You'd like to pick it up a little closer than that, but still able to get in at least a form's worth of damage off of that is 40. And a little more as the head pops as 40 gets run over.
One thing that really worked out for 40 was Mutoid really lined up with positioning, so he had to run that far anyway, even if that spreader was at the door. So kind of worked out.
Drex gets sniped by a tank at the very end of the room. Unfortunate, but Drex is going to be in with a 544. Faster than last run, Bry. PB, another PB still on the table for Drex here. We just need some good drops on Mutoid.
Just need to see, honestly, one really good spreader, or they just keep chaining weapons so he can keep the damage up. Lobber opener's not a bad thing for Drex. 40 about, indeed, pops open the final form here. Gets electrocuted by a sweeping shot from Mutoid Man.
Good use of invulnerability and grenades to take care of the gunners for Drex. Now just got to start pounding those lobber shots in, maybe get a lucky spreader or two, and PB is on the table.
He's getting lots of lobbers early, consistent damage, not a bad thing. Another lobber. 40 is done. He has won this match, but all the focus right now on Drex. Let's see if we can get back-to-back PBs here for Drex in this opening round match.
He's kicking it old school, Bride. Nothing but lobbers so far.
These are the dream drops if you're looking for consistent damage. And as you said, old school strats, this was the best weapon for quite a while running this game.
Chest pops, sub 7 for Drex. I can smell that sub 8 you predicted, Brian. It's certainly within reason here.
One spreader will get it done. Is this the opportunity? Give him a spreader. It's a lobber. Can he get to it?
Yes, he can.
Unbelievable amount of lobbers here. This is just crazy.
Yeah, you get a lobber, and you get a lobber, and you get a shrapnel to the face.
Well,
Head pops for Drex, though.
To be fair, it was really more to the backside. But regardless, as you say, a lobber. Here's a spreader chance. Is he going to try to manual it? Having trouble landing those lobber shots. Now he's got the spreader. Will it be a manual attempt? Looks like regular damage attempts.
Yeah, just going to play it safe here is Drex. No need to be a hero to get a PB in this situation.
Oh no.
Just don't get run over. Get the weapons. 2 good weapons will do it, Drex.
Yes.
You can do it. You can do it.
Well, sub 8 is dead, but if he lands these shots with these rockets in this lobber, will be in good shape. Awfully close to Mutoid here. Playing dangerous. Not landing a lot of these. Go to the wall. Bank your shots. Dies
Oh
going
no!
for the grenade!
No! Got done dirty on the corner. These
Still
grenades
is
should do it
not
though.
gonna PB. Oh, if he had just stayed away and landed those lobbers, he had it.
All he had to do was just land like 2 more lobber balls, and it certainly would have been a PB. Unfortunately, it's just going to be about on par with the previous run.
It's maybe half a second slower. So that is the end of the second match of 4 tonight. We'll have to wait and see if Perron Burgundy is available. Either way, we're going to line up the next matchup here, guys. Don't go anywhere. Check out those prizes. Half the night gone, half to go. It's going to be pretty awesome.